Good afternoon, everybody. So the picture I have on my map here is the good old White House. And obviously the reason I have a picture of the White House and a map of Washington, D.C. and the general environs is the United States just had an election. And I think a lot of people are asking, what happened? It wasn't this massive Democrat wave that was predicted. And what I wanted to talk about on this video, what did happen? What are we seeing right now? And what you first have to do is go back to 2016 when Donald Trump won the 2016 election. And you have to look at that, and you have to look at the period building up to the actual 2016 election. So first, Donald Trump was not supposed to win the 2016 election. This was not believed, but adamantly known by the Clinton political machine, the Obama political machine. Hillary Clinton was absolutely going to win and was supposed to win. If you look at the media elite, Hillary Clinton was going to win 100%. There wasn't even a thought that Donald Trump would actually win the election. Donald Trump, before 2016, was merely a curio, a curiosity, something that was designed to help with ratings of the media elite. And it did. And most of them, and when I say most, I mean ABC, NBC, CBS, BBC, Reuters, AP, just all of them. Even Fox News, to an extent, which is kind of a. I mean, it is what it is. It's there to entertain the political right of the United States, and it does a very good job of that. And most of a lot of the information that it provides is biased to the right, but at the same time, it does have its foundations. It does have its merit. It is accurate. Then you look at the other political juggernauts that exist, and especially NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC. These stations are indoctrinated with the political left. And they saw Donald Trump, this back in 2016, as something so bizarre, so outlandish to themselves in their political thought that they believed there was just absolutely no way that Donald Trump could win. And you have to understand, most of this media elite is heavily indoctrinated into Marxist cultural Marxism theory. I mean, they go to high school. A lot of them are millennials and Gen Xers. So they go through high school. They're indoctrinated there. Not as bad as what they get when they finally get to college. And they go to college and they spend 4, 6, 8 years in college earning a bachelor's, a master's, a doctorate in some cases. And many of these kids, and that's what they are, these media kids, are in school, and they go to school, and they're in college, and they are indoctrinated in perpetuity to this idea of cultural Marxism. The Constitution, what the founding fathers believed in, is archaic to them and to their teachers. So they leave college, and they have this political thought that is absolute. You can't argue with them. You can't have a contrary opinion. And that's just the way it is. So back to 2016, Trump wins. And he wins because the media elite were very much propagating at the time Donald Trump, because it was a curio. It was just something that was bizarre, and it was laughable, and some people would vote for this guy, but in the end, not enough. Not enough to defeat Hillary Clinton and this Clinton machine. But it did. And that quite literally stunned the world. And it stunned two components of American society. One, the media elite, which are cultural Marxists. And then two, the new kings of society, which are the tech billionaires. These tech billionaires, same group. They didn't go to media school. They went to computer science school, or whatever line of education was required to enhance themselves in the tech field. And they were brought up in this same cultural Marxist theory. So you have two very powerful components of society. One, the media world, that includes Apple, it includes Microsoft, it includes the giant media companies, like the parent company of NBC based in Philadelphia. There was a system, and that system was defied during the 2016 election. And they walked away from it in complete and utter disbelief. So fast forwarding to where we're at now in the 2020 election, that in between time, the media elite conducted itself in a manner. I mean, they talk about Russian interference in the election. Well, the media elite interfered in the United States election of 2020 because they were so infuriated with what occurred in 2016 that for 4 years, if you were to watch CNN, NBC, all of them, they bashed Trump every single day, every single night. That's all you heard. It never ended for 4 years. And I've been through other presidents. Obviously I've seen many presidents, Bush, Reagan, Carter, what have you. I've seen the political discourse that has taken place during those elections, and it never existed the way it exists now. And if you look at what we've heard during just the nightly news and just the nightly, daily bashing of Trump, that is political interference. That is election meddling. And that's what happened. And then we get to the actual election, where even the night before, the polls had Joe Biden winning by as much as 16 to 17 points in some areas. And these were battleground states. They had Joe Biden winning in Texas, Georgia, just a host of states, Florida. And it wasn't even going to be a real a real fight politically by Donald Trump. He was just going to be defeated. That was the polling that was put out, and that polling was false. It was made up. It was not based on real polls, and that in it of itself is election meddling. That's what they did. They meddled in the nightly news, the daily news, the daily discourse, the opinions. Everything was designed to bash Trump every single day. And they, and when I say they, I mean the media elite, the tech titans, the tech billionaires. We've all heard that saying, the tree of liberty will be watered with the blood of tyrants. Well, I believe the tree of liberty will be watered with the blood of tech billionaires and media elites in the coming future. I just don't believe that the American conservative right is going to tolerate what is happening. The discourse is not fair. You're being told, the American people are being told a lot of lies, a lot of misinformation, a lot of things that are simply not true to achieve an election outcome or a political outcome. And it's going to backfire. And you have to understand that 60 plus million people voted for Donald Trump. Think about that for a second. 60 million plus people. And if you look at that number and you say, okay, well, 40 million are males, and then let's say just 3% of those right-leaning males were to take up the rifle and head to the hills. I mean, that's 1.2 million people willing to take up the armed struggle. And the reason I use 3% is that's probably the number of persons who took up arms during the American Revolution. It wasn't a great many, but the population obviously has increased monolithically in the United States. And you have a great many people now who are incredibly discouraged by what occurred in this election in 2020. If you look at the map of the United States, and you can see where the power base of the American right is, and I think it's kind of concentric really in this area, and that's Missouri, Arkansas, Iowa, Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, parts of Alabama, Louisiana, Oklahoma, much of East Texas, West Texas, Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, and places all over, even the left-leaning parts of the United States, which is for the most part confined to New York, the upper Northeast, and the Pacific West Coast. That's the political left. And here, the rest, the flyover country, is all red, and they are angry. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to turn on CNN and listen to Don Lemon for 15 to 20 minutes to know it is slanted. You're not getting the truth. You're getting the truth if you lean left. You're being lied to if you're in this part of the country. If you listen to Cuomo, you're being lied to. And he's from a political family, a left-leaning political family. His Brohim, obviously he's governor of New York. It's just lies in perpetude. And the rooster is going to come home and roost. And if the acts of voter fraud are even partially substantiated in Pennsylvania or wherever else these allegations are occurring, people are going to rise up. And I would ask the people on the political left this question: do you like toilet paper? Do you like hot water? Do you like power? Do you like going to Trader Joe's and buying whatever you want? Because if the United States enters into a civil war, you're not going to have that. You're not going to have toilet paper. You're not going to have Trader Joe's. You're not going to have Starbucks. It's going to be bloody, and it is going to be nasty. And again, 3% of 60 million people rising up is 1.2 million people, roughly, that would take up arms. And that's a small percentage of that 60 million vote if you just take in 3%. So I hope cooler heads prevail, and I think we need to look at something, maybe succession, maybe partition. We're not able to get along, and we're not able to see anything in agreement, and something has to be done, because if it's not done, and the political left continues to press its initiatives into the American heartland, it is going to explode. And given the democratic militias that are now forming in terms of Antifa and Black Lives Matter, that's not a social justice organization. It is a leftist militia designed to obstruct and cause problems for the political right in the United States. That's all it is. And it is doing that, and eventually you're going to see groups rise up on the political right. And when it finally happens in a way that is explosive and kinetic, it's not going to be like anything this country has ever seen before. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be relentless. And it's going to have to play a zero-sum game, because it feels, and I mean by the political right feels, that it is being destroyed. The goal of the left is to destroy the political right. And that has a great many people concerned and fearing for the future of our nation. And I think that we're in for some really, really, really tough times. That's all I got. Have a great evening.